Zoe's helping me with another video about square roots. So, first thing she did is the hidden products game. So, she hid underneath here what the product of 1 times 1 is. And 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. And so on and so forth. 8 times 8, 64. So these ones are all squares, because we're going to talk about square roots today. Okay? So we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 squares. Okay, now let's talk about our 9 square there, Zoe. What's underneath all of this?
81.
81, right?
And I'll show you too.
There it is, 81 upside down, looks like 18 to us. In fact, let me come around. Now it looks right. Okay, so we have 81, and one side is 9, right? Can you tell me what the square root of 81 is?
9.
Because square root means tell me one side, right? So instead of 9, could we write the square root of 81?
Yep, that would be a lot longer.
It would be longer to write, but it means the same thing, right? So can you erase that and write the square root of 81? Okay, here's what I mean. That's the same thing as 9, right? Doesn't 9 equal square root of 81? So instead of 9, we can write this, same thing, right? Okay, so instead of 9 up here, I wrote the square root of 81. Can you write it up there?
Don't want to do an S.
There. Okay, I want you to pick 4 other squares to replace the number on the side with a square root number that equals the same thing. So what do you want to do next?
3 more? Or 4?
Sure. Yeah, whatever you want. All right, so instead of 5, you're going to write
the square root of 25.
Yep, that's right. Okay, which one next?
Oh, right.
Okay, so one side is the square root of 100, and the other side is the square root of 100, right? All right, choose one more square. Which one?
Square root.
So instead of 7, she's writing the square root of 49, because 7 is the square root of 49. Okay, good. Now we're going to play with some Play-Doh. Are you ready? Okay. So here we have a 5 rod and a 5 rod made of Play-Doh. And we have a 3 rod and a 3 rod made of Play-Doh. You see it? Okay. So what I want you to do is choose one of those and make it into a square. Which one do you want to choose? I'll do the other one, whatever you don't do. Okay, so make that Play-Doh into a square, and I'll make the 5 into a square. Okay, here is our 5 made into a square, and there is our 3 made into a square. And Zoe, I want you to write an equal sign between those.
But how does this equal this?
Do you remember that they were exactly the same size?
Yeah.
So it's the same amount. It's still 3, right? It's just in a different shape. Like, you know when we have, let's look at our 4 square. We can have 16 shaped like this, right? A long rectangle. Or we can also have it shaped like a square. It's still 16, right? Okay, so down here, our 5 is shaped like a long rectangle here, but it's still 5 and it's shaped like a square there. You understand? So, let's see. If we look up here. Here's our 4 square, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's one side?
2.
Here's our 3 square. What's one side of our 3 square?
3.
Okay, so if we make 9 into a square, one side is 3. If we make 16 into a square, one side is
4.
Okay, if we make, well, let's hold up on that. Okay, if we make 5 into a square, what's one side?
2.5.
2.5, why do you think that?
Because 2.5 is exactly half of 5.
Okay, well, let's see. Is 3 exactly half of 9?
No.
Is 4 exactly half of 16?
No.
Oh. So we have a square that's equal to 5. In fact, why don't you draw a square this size? Can you draw it about that size and put 5 in the middle? Just write it right above there. Like right here. And write 5 in the middle. All right, and how much is inside that square?
5.
Okay, so inside that square is 5, right? Inside this square is 4. Inside this square is 9. Inside this square is 16. Inside this square is 64. Okay, now I want to know one side of each of those, right? I want to know one side of this. Now the tricky thing is that it's not a whole number, is it? And the same thing with this one over here. Tricky thing is the side of our 3, our square that's equal to 3, is not a whole number. Can you make a square that says 3 on the inside?
Yeah, I'll try to rotate it around just like I did with this one.
Okay. Okay. So there is a square that is made up of 3. All right, I'm going to take you one step further. You ready? Here's a square that's made up of 100, right? What's one side of it?
10.
10 or?
The square root of 100.
Okay. How about here? Here's a square made up of the number 81. What's one side of it?
9.
Or?
Square root of 81.
Okay. How about up here? Here's 25. Okay, so here's 25. What's one side of it?
5.
Or?
Square root of 25.
Okay. So what do you think we could call one side
The
of?
square root of 3.
Oh, light bulb went off. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, write it in. Good job. On one side of that.
It's going to be so hard.
Square root of 3 on one side, square root of 3 on the other. And we don't know the exact amount that is, do we?
This too, except I'll have to do it on this side.
That's fine. Square root of 5 on one side, square root of 5 on another. Now, how about if we use a calculator and find out exactly what the square root of 3 is? And the square root of 5. Because, like, we know the square root of 16 is just 4. That's easy, right? Square root of 25, just 5. That's easy. So let's use a calculator to find the square root of 3. Here's our calculator. Now let's do a perfect square. How about 36? Type in 36. Or push 36. Now push the little square root key. Square root of 36 is 6, right? How about the square root of 64? Why don't you try that? What should it be?
8.
8. Okay, so now type in 3. And then push the square root sign. Whoa. Do you see that little dot after the 1? All those numbers after that dot mean it's a fraction. It's less than 1. So this means
I can tell.
it's the same as 1. And let's just look at the 7. 7/10. You know what 7/10 means, right? It's kind of close to 1, more than half, right? So the size of one side of this should be more than 1 and less than 2, right? Can you get a 1 rod and a 2 rod and measure them up against there? Okay, there's a 2 rad.
2 rad.
It's a little bit less than that, isn't it?
Of course, a 1 rad.
1 rad.
Nope.
And it's more than that.
But it seems like a 2 rad does.
It does look pretty close, doesn't it? I think we might have drawn our square a little bit too large. But think about it. Look over here, 7/10. 7/10 is more than half, right? Mm-hmm. So the length of this is more than half of 2. Let's try it with our square root of 5. Type in 5 and then hit the square root sign.
5.
Okay, 2, and let's call it 2/10. We'll just ignore the rest of them, okay?
Okay.
So 2 and 2/10, so it should be a little bit longer than a 2. Let's see if that's right. Grab a 2 rad. Hey, it is, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It looks about 2/10 bigger than that. I think we drew that one better.
Yeah.
Good job.